Hello again, everyone. I'm back with part 2 of our lecture series. In this part, we're going to be talking about Roman numerals and how we will use them to name chords. You will see here that I have two scales, C major and C minor, both with scale degrees at the bottom. Scale degrees, they again help us to determine where a certain note is within a scale. So for instance, in C major, F is scale degree 4, etc. Roman numerals do something very similar, but they also help to tell us the quality of a chord, whether a chord is major, minor, or diminished. And I will get to that very shortly, but first, let's go about spelling our first chord. If you remember from the previous part, I want you to consider chords as stacks of thirds, 2/3 on top of each other. So let's get our thirds first, and that will help us determine the quality. We want above this C an E, and then above that E, we want a G. And then once we have our thirds, we need to figure out the quality of each of those thirds. So from C to E, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. And then from E to G, that would be 3 half steps. So if you remember from our chart, a major third is 4 half steps. A minor third is 3 half steps. So major plus minor, that is a major chord. A C major chord, in fact, because the C is the bottom note. So this is a major chord. What we then need to do is simply just replace the scale degree with a Roman numeral 1. And because it's capital, that tells us that this is a major chord. The 1 is like a scale degree. Tells us that in C major, it's a C chord. Let's do the same thing now with the D chord. Again, let's get our thirds. So above D, we want an F. Above F, we want an A, if it will let me. There we go. And then we determine the quality of those thirds. So from D up to F, that is 1, 2, 3 half steps. Okay. And then from F up to A, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. So it's the reverse of the C major chord. So we have a minor third from D to F, major third from F to A, and then put them together. This is a D minor chord. And because it's minor, we need a lowercase Roman numeral. And we simply replace the 2 with a Roman numeral 2. I'm going to fill in the rest of these chords for the major scale, and then I'll lead you through the minor scale, but after a cutaway. All right, and now I'm back. So now I've filled in the rest of the chords, and I filled in these Roman numerals. But before I move on to the minor, I want to pay very special attention to 2 chords. First, this 7 chord. This is actually a diminished chord, and let me show you why. The distance from B to D, from B to D is a minor third. The distance from D to F is also a minor third. Because there are 2 minor thirds in this chord, that together makes a diminished chord. And that is why you give the -dim designation for diminished. And the reason why I do not give this one chord a Roman numeral 8 is because this is the same 3 notes as this, but just a little bit higher. So it's still a C, E, and G chord because it matches the notes that are in this 1 chord, this C chord, we give it also the Roman numeral 1. Now let's move on to minor. Very similar to what we did with major, we start off with our thirds, and then figure out the quality of each of those intervals. So the distance from C to E flat, that's a minor third. Oops. And then E flat to G, that's a major third. So this chord with a minor third and a major third is a minor chord. So then we give this the lowercase 1. I'll do the same thing just to expedite the process a little bit, but actually, before I move on, my apologies. We are going to be, I gave you a natural minor here, but from now on we are going to be using C, or rather, all harmonic. So in this video, I'm going to give you C harmonic minor. And if that's the case, that means the 7th needs to be raised. So B is flat in this key signature. What we need to do is raise it. And instead of a sharp, we want to add a natural. And that just defaults it to this, B. Now, let me take some time to fill in the rest of these and I'll be right back. All right, I am back, this time with some Roman numerals in for the harmonic minor. Let me go over those first, and then I'm going to compare major and minor Roman numerals together. In C harmonic minor, or rather, any harmonic minor, our 1 chord is minor. Oops, let me pull up my piano keyboard so you can see. So 1 is minor. Our 2 chord is diminished. Our 3 chord is actually something called augmented. You get that by stacking 2 major thirds on top of each other, and it sounds like this. But that is something that we won't cover this week. That will be something we reserve for part 2. Sounds cool, though. Our 4 in harmonic minor is minor. Our 5 is major. Our 6 is also major. Our 7 is diminished. And then we're back to 1. Contrast this with the major. Our 1 in a major key is major. Our 2 is minor, not diminished. Our 3 is minor, not augmented. Our 4 is major. 5 is also major. 6 is actually minor instead of major. And I should have pointed out this difference as well. 4 is major in major. 4 is minor in minor. But back to 5 again. 5 is actually major in both. Interesting. 6 is minor instead of major. 7 is still diminished in both. And then we're back to 1. And that will wrap up part 2, as well as the lecture series as a whole. Again, if you have any questions, or if anything is confusing or troubling you, just let me know and I will do my best to get that resolved for you. Music be with you.